She just swings at her. You love to see it. You love to see it. Aliyah Boston just, like Alyssa Thomas has her arm hooked. Aliyah Boston's having none of it. Swings at her. Like, of all play, it couldn't happen to a better person than Alyssa Thomas. But like the shape, like Aliyah Boston has never been in this shape in her career. Like, she was a bruising big and she hasn't lost the strength. And that's the big thing, is that you would think maybe, like with how much her speed has come up, like how different her body composition is now. Like she was built as
Aliyah Boston's performances in the unrivaled league showcase a transformed athlete operating at elite levels. Bold predictions suggest Boston could earn all WNBA first-team honors next season based on her current trajectory. The possibility exists that Indiana could place 2 players on the league's premier recognition squad, reflecting the franchise's rising competitive standing. Boston's current physical condition and on-court execution represent unprecedented peaks in her professional career, demonstrating improvements that warrant serious attention from league observers. A particular sequence captured Boston's development perfectly. Video footage shows Boston defending Alyssa Thomas on the perimeter, an assignment that previously might have presented challenges.
Like how different her body composition is now. Like she was built as a bruising center, which was how she played. And now you're looking at somebody who is guarding on the perimeter, who's guarding bigs, who's playing bully ball on the inside, who's burning bigger players on the wing. Her footwork is still equally as good. It's just slightly quicker now. She's able to pull the 3, super quick release. Mid-range was always there. The confidence is there. And unrivaled, like you're looking at Aliyah and you're like, this isn't the player, ironically, that the Fever drafted.
Thomas attempted to exploit the matchup through switches and isolation attacks. Boston neutralized these efforts completely, rejecting Thomas's shot attempt with authority. The subsequent interaction featured Thomas grabbing Boston's arm, prompting Boston to physically respond by swinging at the hold. The confrontational moment highlighted Boston's refusal to accept physical manipulation without asserting herself. Thomas deserved the aggressive response given her reputation for initiating contact, making the exchange particularly satisfying for those who appreciate Boston's competitive evolution. Boston's physical transformation stands as the most remarkable aspect of her unrivaled showing.
That this isn't the player, ironically, that the Fever drafted. This was not the player that was drafted number 1. This is the player that, like, was expected to be this, like, top-tier WNBA player from the time she set foot in the league. Like, she was an all-star starter as a rookie. She was expected to be a top maybe 15 player in her second year, and it just didn't work out. Playing with Caitlin Clark, the team played a Caitlin Clark style. It took her a half a season to figure that out. But since she has figured that out, Aliyah Boston.
Throughout her career, she built her reputation as a powerful interior presence who overwhelmed opponents through strength and positioning. The concern entering this season centered on whether Boston could maintain that physical dominance while simultaneously improving her mobility and perimeter capabilities. Conventional wisdom suggested that gaining quickness might require sacrificing power, creating a trade-off that would fundamentally alter her playing style. The reality defies these expectations completely. Boston retained every ounce of her interior strength while simultaneously becoming significantly faster and more versatile. Her body composition shifted dramatically from the bruising center build she displayed earlier in her career.
Since she has figured that out, Aliyah Boston is scary. She has been, as a player, she's been scary. Her ability in the short roll, and she's adding new things to her game every single year. Her perimeter defense has gotten so much better. Like, it's at the stage now where I've always said this, where it's like, people are like, oh, they need to get a true big beside Aliyah. I'm like, no. Aliyah is your modern center. Aliyah is your modern center. She's like an NBA equivalent of if Draymond was 6'9", or it's like 6'9", 6'10". She's your modern center. If you want to get some size.
Current footage reveals an athlete capable of defending multiple positions, from traditional big players in the paint to quicker perimeter threats on the wing. She bullies opponents in the post while possessing the foot speed to burn larger defenders when operating outside. Her footwork, always considered excellent, now operates at accelerated tempo without losing precision. The three-point shooting threat emerged with quick-release mechanics. Her mid-range game, consistently reliable throughout her career, now features enhanced confidence and execution. The player unrivaled audiences witness differs substantially from the prospect Indiana selected with the first overall pick.
She's your modern center. If you want to get some size beside her, you do what you can to get Alana Smith. You get some size, you get some shooting around her, use her as an offensive hub. She's ironically, she was outrunning Malonga in some games. Like, she is a quick big. She is able to guard an Alyssa Thomas on the perimeter. She's going to be able to guard an Aja Wilson. Like, she is somebody that has completely changed her game. She's completely changed everything about her game. And a year ago in Unrivaled, it seemed like she had lost a lot of the kind of back down ability. It did seem like she had lost quite a lot of that.
Boston entered the league carrying a
ability. It did seem like she had lost quite a lot of that. It didn't seem like she was quite as good when it came to her post game. Her finishing had been was very iffy on Unrivaled. It was horrendous on Unrivaled, if we're being completely real here. That being said, like, Aliyah has been unbelievable. And then she's going there calling out Alyssa Thomas going to the bench, and I'm like, yeah, that's what you want to see. Aliyah Boston is a dirty player, said everyone who can't guard her. I mean,
her short roll capabilities improved dramatically, adding dimensions to her offensive repertoire annually. Perimeter defensive growth represents another area where advancement continues reshaping her overall impact. The evolution reached stages where arguments suggesting Indiana needs a traditional 7-foot center appear misguided. Boston functions as the prototypical modern center, comparable to an NBA player like Draymond Green if he stood 6'9" or 6'10" rather than his actual height. She embodies contemporary basketball's positionless ideals while maintaining elite size advantages.
Who can't guard her. I mean, I don't care if Aliyah Boston's a dirty player. I actually don't. I don't care. Has Aliyah Boston hurt anybody? I don't care if Aliyah Boston throws elbows. I don't care if Aliyah Boston's overly physical. I don't care if she sets moving screens. I do care if Aliyah Boston starts diving at people's knees or she yanks someone's shoulder out. Then okay, yeah, that's going too far. I don't care if a player's overly physical. Like, for the Alyssa Thomas things, I don't mind Alyssa Thomas when she plays rugby.
Personnel construction around Boston should emphasize acquiring complementary pieces rather than replacing her with traditional big players. Adding someone like Alana Smith provides additional size and shooting without displacing Boston from her natural center role. Using Boston as an offensive hub maximizes her playmaking vision and passing ability. Her speed in transition outpaces even athletes like Malonga, demonstrating mobility.
When she plays rugby, I mind Alyssa Thomas when she goes through somebody's knee. I mind Alyssa Thomas when she choke slams Angel Reese. I mind Alyssa Thomas when Caitlin Clark is trying to get around her screen and she hits her with a shoulder barge to the face, to the jaw, and like nearly knocks her out. That's when I mind Alyssa Thomas. I don't mind Alyssa Thomas being physical. I don't mind players being physical. Players can be physical as much as they want. Aliyah Boston's just giving it back to her. It's Alyssa Thomas, for God's sake. I don't care. Like, I actually don't care. Like, as long, like, Alyssa Thomas starts 90% of the shit.
Last season's unrivaled participation showed Boston struggling with aspects of her game that previously defined her excellence. Her back-to-basket abilities appeared diminished, raising concerns about whether her skill set was regressing in certain fundamental areas. Post-play looked shaky, lacking the confident execution that characterized her college dominance. Finishing around the rim proved inconsistent and occasionally problematic, presenting legitimate questions about her offensive reliability. The struggles were pronounced enough to qualify as horrendous when assessed honestly.
See, the WNBA and everybody else is here, and Caitlin is all the way up here. You know, Aja Wilson got signature shoes too, but you don't see Steph Curry warming up in her shoes. I don't think I've seen Steph Curry wear Aja Wilson's shoes not one time. And speaking of Angel Reese, he damn sure ain't wearing her shoes. Nobody worn her shoes in the NBA that I've seen. You know what I'm saying? I could have missed it, but I ain't missing it. See, people can say what they want. Caitlin Clark is simply the driving force behind a lot of the WNBA recent success.
This year's unrivaled performances completely reversed those concerns, establishing Boston as unquestionably dominant across all facets. Her confrontation with Thomas, including the verbal exchange directed toward the bench afterward, exemplified the competitive fire Boston now consistently displays. Critics claiming Boston plays dirty simply reveal their inability to match her physicality or counter her tactical aggression. The dirty player accusations hold minimal weight unless Boston crosses lines involving dangerous plays that risk opponent safety. Physical play itself deserves no criticism provided it stays within acceptable boundaries.
And it looked like ESPN has completely admitted it. Now, that's a reality check of a lifetime, dog. I just got to keep it real. Now, with that being said, man, I want to share something here with you guys, and that is ESPN putting out an article and pretty much detailing that Caitlin Clark is single-handedly the driving force behind everything that is surrounding the WNBA for now and possibly the foreseeable future. Shout out to the homeboy Mike. He said ESPN finally admits Caitlin.
Boston throwing elbows, playing with excessive contact, or setting moving screens doesn't register as problematic behavior worth condemning. The line exists at plays targeting knees, dangerous shoulder manipulations, or other actions designed to injure rather than compete. Those actions merit criticism and intervention. Boston hasn't approached those boundaries, making complaints about her physicality nothing more than competitive frustration from overmatched opponents. Thomas frequently initiates the aggressive contact that defines her playing style, making her an inappropriate person to benefit from referee protection when opponents respond in kind.
Mikey said ESPN finally admits Caitlin Clark is driving force behind the rise in sports and only took 2 seasons. Now, the fanfare Caitlin Clark received from college carried over to the WNBA, which was a historic year in attendance, viewership, and other key metrics. While Caitlin Clark was driving force of the sport's rise in popularity, other college stars such as fellow 2024 Class E's like Angel Reese and more recently 2025 number 1 pick Paige.
Concerns about Thomas arise specifically when her physicality escalates beyond normal competitive contact into dangerous territory. Instances where she attacks opponents' knees, delivers choke slam style takedowns like the Angel Reese incident, or delivers shoulder strikes to faces like the Caitlin Clark collision all represent unacceptable escalations. Those moments justify criticism and sanction. Routine physical basketball featuring body contact, positioning battles, and strength-based advantages presents no problems whatsoever. Boston simply matches Thomas's energy, returning the physicality Thomas distributes freely throughout games.
C's like Angel Reese and more recently 2025 number 1 pick Paige Beckers also brought significant following to the WNBA. Now, over time, it became clear that Caitlin Clark was a sort of a rising tide that helped lift all boats. The epic WNBA finals in 2024 between the New York Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx were the most viewed in 25 years. Now, mind you, bruh, this only happens because Caitlin Clark is attached to it. WNBA would not have.
Thomas initiates 90% of the confrontational situations she encounters during competition, establishing patterns that invite aggressive responses from opponents. Boston represents a bully ball style player comparable to Nikola Jokic's physical approach, with skills resembling a larger, more developed version of Sarah Strong. Long-term projections might favor Strong's ultimate ceiling, but current comparisons suggest Boston already functions as an enhanced version of what Strong might become. Her ability to operate as a point center creates fascinating offensive possibilities, particularly when paired with Clark's elite court vision and decision-making. The Boston-Clark pick-and-roll combination potentially represents the highest basketball IQ tandem in the WNBA.
It would not have seen the most viewership in Hellas if Caitlin Clark was not part of it. One person said, thank you, ESPN Hoops. Another one said, we're still doing the lifting of all boats gimmick in 2026. They drilled holes in the boats, you idiots. They definitely drill holes in the boats. Somebody said, hopefully this end up coming this season. She actually gets the treatment that goes without the position as it will be because of her. That lots of great things will happen.
No reasonable argument disputes this assessment when examining their understanding of spacing, timing, and reading defensive reactions. Their downhill attacks become particularly devastating when Boston executes short rolls, drifts to open spaces, or provides dynamic screening actions. If Boston reaches the performance levels her current trajectory suggests, she'll create unprecedented freedom for Clark's offensive creativity by forcing defenses into impossible decisions. The Las Vegas Aces demonstrated this dynamic during playoff competition by intentionally allowing Boston open layups throughout an entire half rather than permitting Clark clean looks. The defensive strategy explicitly doubled Clark on every possession regardless of Boston's scoring opportunities.
That lots of great things will happen for the WNBA. WNBA has had Angels and Paiges before, but never a Caitlin. Say that again. They have had Angels and Caitlins before, but never Michael Jeffrey Jordan from Iowa, bruh. Caitlin is equivalent to having a Michael Jordan, bruh. And the fanfare perspective, plenty of room for them all, bruh. Sort. them whole thing is a sickness. The thrill is gone. The thrill is definitely much diminishing.
The Aces willingly surrendered easy baskets to Boston rather than risk Clark's explosive offensive capability. Halftime adjustments brought switching defensive schemes, but coaching decisions prevented Indiana from exploiting the mismatches created. Christie Sides' system prioritization over practical adjustments resulted in bizarre sequences where obvious advantages went unused. Dana Evans defending Boston presented clear scoring opportunities, yet the offensive scheme had players setting additional screens to switch Evans back onto Kelsey Mitchell and return Aja Wilson to defending Boston. The inefficiency defied logic, sacrificing easy baskets for adherence to predetermined patterns.
The sickness, the thrill is gone. The thrill is definitely much diminishing, but I think Caitlin Clark hype is only growing. I just got to be honest. I've been following this thing for a little minute now since she was at Iowa. I've been one of the only creators that been here since Iowa, bruh. I've been here since Iowa, bruh. Whole lot of these people ain't been here since Iowa, bruh. But to each his own. It goes on to say, another commenter said, hopefully their stupid analysts will acknowledge it as well as and stop creating fake narratives and rivalries that don't.
Stephanie White's arrival should eliminate these self-defeating tendencies, though criticisms about White's decision-making exist in other contexts. Boston's imminent dominance appears inevitable given her current development trajectory and physical improvements. The mobility enhancements exceed typical player development patterns, suggesting dedicated training focus on explosive movement and perimeter capabilities. Most athletes don't demonstrate the quickness improvements Boston achieved, particularly when starting from her build and playing style. She never appeared out of shape or lacking conditioning throughout her career, making the speed gains more impressive as purely skill-based development rather than fitness corrections.
That don't exist. After everything, you still believe the sincerity of ESPN. At this point, I do, because we all knew this, man. We all knew Caitlin Clark was the person that drove up the viewership, man. Now, this article came out from Yahoo Sports. Rachel Domina went in on them the other day. And to me, it's kind of unfair, man, that, you know, Rachel get all the clout, but you got people like Ben Daniel and many other people that goes in on.
The transformation likely involved intensive speed training and movement work that fundamentally altered her athletic profile. Her jump shot release quickened noticeably, with confidence replacing hesitation in shooting decisions. Perhaps the speed always existed but lacked opportunities for expression within Dawn Staley's system at South Carolina or Side's approach in Indiana. The freedom granted by unrivaled pace and playing alongside Kelsey Plum revealed capabilities previously constrained by tactical limitations. Plum functions as an inferior pick-and-roll partner compared to Clark, yet Boston thrives even in that reduced role.